Thank you for stopping by Luxuriously Poor, and I hope you find today's video helpful. And I would like to say that if you need wisdom on what to do for now or the future, this book is extremely helpful. I try really hard to give you guys honest opinions. I try not to just do a video hoping you guys will just click and I'll get a lot of views to it. It's very important to me that the information I give, I really feel that it's going to be helpful. Now, they're not necessarily exciting videos with beautiful kitchens to look at or anything like that, but it's honest, down to earth information. Now, like everybody else, I'm always looking for ways to extend the shelf life of my food. And recently, a video popped up that caught my eye, and it talks about storing your potatoes for a year. And I thought, oh, wow, I have never heard, and I had searched a long time ago of how you could store your potatoes for a year. Or 7 months, 6 months, something. And there was no such thing. I couldn't find anything. I mean, people would say things, but I would be, well, I've done that, and it doesn't last that long. And so I watched the video, and I'm going to explain to you what they say that supposedly works. And the claim is that it will work even on store-bought potatoes. Now, there's places that people have cellars and different things, and that will help you keep them longer. And if you're growing your own potatoes, that will help you keep them a little bit longer, because there's the curing period, where you have to lay them out and they have to dry out and cure and everything. And that helps you keep them a month or two later. But a year is definitely something else. And they claim that you could do it from store-bought. And, you would have to think, how many potatoes do you need? What's the cost going to be? Because depending on how many potatoes you could use, you could end up spending $120, $130 for a year's supply of potatoes to bring home. Or you could spend as little, maybe as $60 or $50. It just depends. And if you stick around, I'm going to show you what I consider to be a far better way to do this. You've heard the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm going to say don't put all your potatoes in one box, because that could cause you to lose everything, and you'll have no potatoes stored at all. Now, I personally store my potatoes in a bin. Now, that they ain't going to last in that bin for a year, and if you stick around, I'll show you what I do. And I will explain to you what this person said you should do to get your potatoes to last for a year. Now, in the case of these, if you're going to store potatoes, store the ones with the most nutritional value, which are the Reds, the Yukon Golds. Russets are the lowest on the low when it comes to potatoes and vitamin nutrition. Now, these potatoes are what they call they're very small. I love them because I can throw a few of these in some water and boil them. And I clean the skins first, okay? The whole potato, I wash it. Then throw it in water and boil it. And then I just take it out and I'll smash them with a fork on the plate. Throw some butter on it, salt and pepper. And I might even put some sour cream on them. And they taste really good. Fry them up for breakfast. There's all kinds of things, fresh potatoes. Now, this person in their video said that you take your potatoes, put them in a box. I got this box from Sprouts. And what you do is you put a light layer of dirt on the bottom. They say you can use dirt from your own yard. I wouldn't want to use dirt from my yard. I mean, I don't know. I got all kinds of critters crawling around in my yard. Fire ants, everything you can think of. But they say put a light dusting. Put a layer of potatoes, put a very light dusting on that, and then put another layer and a very light dusting. You get the picture until you've got your year's supply of potatoes. Well, You better be checking on them because some will start to rot and some will sprout. There's nothing you can do to stop it. But me, this is what I do because that does not work. It doesn't work for me. That's all I can say. You want to try it? Go for it. I personally wouldn't. It doesn't work. I take, when I find a sale or I think my potatoes are starting to turn, I will peel them sometimes. Sometimes I'll leave the skin on them, and I will put olive oil in the skillet, put it top, low heat, cook them 5-10 minutes, stir them, take them out, put them in a bowl, and then put them in a Ziploc bag. And I will put them in my freezer. That gives me fried potatoes. I don't have to worry. My quality of my potatoes is still fairly decent because I don't let them get huge eyes on them. And I just freeze them for future use. But you have to stop and think, well, what do I do about mashed potatoes? And what if hash browns instead? Well, that's where instant mashed potatoes comes in handy. If you like a lot of mashed potatoes, there are ways to cook these mashed potatoes, and they will taste just as good as regular mashed potatoes from fresh potatoes. And hash browns the same way. These are much more lightweight than whole potatoes. And, picking up a box of year's supply of stored potatoes is not an easy thing to do. You could be looking at 50, 60, 70 pounds of potatoes in a box. That's a lot. This is much easier, simpler. You could even buy yourself boxes of the scallop potatoes if you wanted. You're not going to get necessarily potato salad, but, we may have to give up some things. We can't expect to have every single thing we want in life to eat. There's a lot of things I just don't eat. Some things I do, some I don't. I'm not willing to go through what is necessary to have it. I'm just not. I'm not going to pay the price. It's too big of a headache. But this is simple. You don't have to try to store a whole year's supply. I mean, it might give you something to talk about as a YouTube creator, so somebody will click on your video. But it's not really helpful in the end. At least I don't think it is. As the old saying goes, don't put all your potatoes in one box. Spread the boxes around. And that way, if disaster hits, maybe you can save a couple of boxes of the dried stuff if you can't carry the fresh out the door. Well, God bless and have a blessed day.